Hello, this is Natasha from Earth Mother Star Child, Natasha Astara, and I thought I would come on and do a podcast for Christmas survival guides for indigos. And I've been writing that, and I hadn't released it in time for Christmas. And when I looked at the content, I wondered, well, actually, I don't know if anything was very useful in it. So what I'd like to do now is to talk about what is it like to be an indigo. So I don't know if you're listening to this podcast, if you already know you're an indigo, but I have put some pieces on my website and on my Facebook group about what it is to be an indigo. Maybe you'll have the understanding that many people were born under the indigo ray, and we came in waves, and we came in mostly through the 70s and 80s, but usually before then as well, there are some much older indigos. And usually we came about through hearing a call from Gaia after the Second World War, and it was a Gaia distress signal that asked us to come, and people came from all over the galaxies, all over the multiverses, from very far away, from all sorts of dimensions, to come in and to really help Gaia ascend and to move out of her troublesome predicament of polarity. So, if you're an indigo, what is it like being here? I mean, it doesn't define you, but actually there are a lot of traits that being an indigo you'll find are similar. One of the traits is that a lot of indigos feel like they're very alone. And why this is important at Christmas time is because most indigos are born into families where there is some sort of disconnect. And the reason this is because indigos are born, because we were born through an indigo ray, we didn't have the amnesia that many people around us have. We had a coding, a soul mission, a divine intention that really protected our ability to remember who we are and to be acutely aware of our presence as souls in physical matter. So often we're born into families or groups or institutions where we don't really resonate with anything around us. And this can be particularly hard at Christmas time. So we can be born into a family group which needed to change their coding and their genetic structure, and often indigos can be the only emotional one on that line, and a lot of people can be very stagnant within the family group. So this can be a problem around Christmas because often indigos are the only ones that are expressing the stagnation or the discomfort of being in a group of very stagnant individuals who are not expressing and caretaking themselves. Sometimes these interactions can be, even abusive. So because indigos, are born with an inner knowing, we also have a very high frequency of resonance. So often we have to remember that we are put in these places, in these institutions, in these families to resonate our higher vibration, because a lot of us are system breakers. We come in to, interfere, to interrupt, to dismantle the heavier 3D systems, the heavier 3D matrices, and we carry that high vibration because it's only through that we are able to infiltrate and to change and to create light in those very dense situations. So this can be within family groups. And so if you find that you're in a family group where this is happening, then sometimes people can dump energy and they can deposit energy. They can project unwanted energy onto the person that can feel the most, onto the person that can express the most within a family group. And this can be very, very distressing for indigos who are highly sensitive and very emotional, their energy in motion. Often they're artists and creatives who have the ability to express themselves and express their sensitivity and creativity in a really, really wonderful way, very expansive. But often they have to get through this heavy conditioning which has come from being with families. So when we come together and you're having this experience at Christmas time, try and remember that you are a very high frequency being and that you may not necessarily wish to be sat in a room with loads of people who are not high vibration, but hopefully you can find something that does appeal to you, that is play and enjoyment and art and expression, and maybe there's some kindred souls in your family who are also indigos who can resonate with you. So sometimes within that process, indigos can detect dishonesty, and that is really clear. Like if they find a dissonance between what someone is saying and how they feel, then it can really aggravate them and cause much distress. I mean, most light workers are experiencing different forms of abuse in the 3D, and one of the very common forms of abuse, which is even amongst very nice sort of people, is gaslighting, where they are saying one thing and denying another. So but often what they deny is the truth of what happened. So this is happening, and I'm picking people up on it left, right and centre. It's very difficult because we often have many different versions of the truth happening at once. But the very difficult thing about gaslighting is that people are very obviously wanting to change the reality for their own agendas. And this is dangerous because it causes people to undermine their own feelings about a certain situation and their own ability to trust themselves around those feelings. So indigos can detect dishonesty very clearly, and if some family members' relationships are invested in creating that dissonance, it suits them on some level to stay hidden, then that will create problems in indigo. It will cause moods and mood swings and moodiness. You feel angry for no particular reason, and that can then create more problems of being like the angry person within the family group or the family gathering, or the difficult one. And this creates even more distress for an indigo who's often carrying this life pattern of loneliness, and they don't want to feel more lonely, but the trouble is the family group isn't always the one that makes them feel welcome and the most comfortable. It's very difficult to be with people that you really truly love, but then know that actually on some level they're very unhealthy for you. This can be a very difficult thing to reconcile within oneself. And I think indigos have had this experience, time and time again, and we are still working out as light workers, like how do we stay connected with people we love but who have no idea, no clue, through their own ignorance and denial of what they're creating all the time. So indigos are often very creative, as I've said before, and they can be drawn to healing and a lot of new age stuff like crystals, vibrational medicine, new technology is another one. They also get bored easily. So as an indigo, you'll find that you'll be moving on to, what's interesting, what ignites you, what feeds you, what nourishes you. So this is why we see a lot of indigos bringing in, new technology, bringing in new changes into the earth. I mean, this is what we've been encoded for. This is what we should be doing. The old indigos, unfortunately, have been a bit stuck in having to clear very old patterns, and we've been very strong pattern breakers. But the new indigos that have been coming in often have this ability to create what's needed for the new paradigm. It's a bit like they are the old indigos have come in and cleared the way, and the new ones are coming in and planting the seeds and helping the plants to grow, which is really, really fabulous. So the other thing that indigos can do is they love adventure and a free spirit, and they dislike routines. So if you have a really boring routine over your Christmas period, I really recommend getting out and shaking it up, doing something different, really introducing a new concept to the people that are in your family or the people you'll spend Christmas to. If they are not interested, then maybe find a different way of expressing it. Find a different way of expressing your tradition at this celebration. In the same light, it's quite interesting to note that indigos have a real affinity with finding soulmates, And if you are an indigo at Christmas time and you're alone, then maybe time to find a way of really tracking in, bringing in your new flame, your soulmate, your twin flame, really, activating your ability to attract into your life someone who is going to be like a kindred spirit. This doesn't have to be an intimate partner. This can even be a collaboration, a friendship. It could even, if you're pregnant, be a soul that's incarnating in to be part of your family, creating a new family here on earth for yourself. It can be even in animals or plants. It doesn't always have to be in an intimate relationship. However, if you want that for yourself, then this is the time to really begin to attract it. Because, Christmas time, whether you believe it or not, it is about gatherings of people. And this is why indigos need the right people to gather around them and to create harmony rather than stress or distress at this time. I would also like to say on that the religion of indigos is love, no matter what religion they've been born into or not. In fact, some of them are system breakers in that religion. So it is about dismantling what is not pure about that belief system. But also within yourself, religion, the religion is love. So everything is about creating love, bringing in love, holding love in this new way on earth as being part of your soul and your soul light here. So as you're coming together at Christmas, really is, we can have presents or eat and drink and be merry, but really it's about cultivating that love and really bringing that into the space, into the relationships. And I might even suggest that we do away with the presents. We create a space of love together and make it about honouring that presence and connection within ourselves and within our dynamics with other people. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope that you've enjoyed this podcast. I do write a lot about indigos and starseeds and earth angels and elementals, empaths. So I'd love to hear from you. My name's Astara and my website is www.earthmotherstarchild.co.uk, and you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as Earth Mother Star Child. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, namaste.